Artanis, once again, is someone who unfortunately has to look at things to kill them because a move.
Oh yes.
On the bright side, Dragoons are kind of chonky, so they have a relatively large amount of lenience for like looking at things, basically.
Looking at things.
Yes, as long as you are looking at things, so your Dragoons are shooting things, they won't just kind of melt because of the reduced killing rate. Unfortunately, Shortsighted is going to be also a bit problematic because it somewhat reduces the impact of the fact that Dragoons are also usually dependent on being a bit long
my concern
ranged.
with Dragoons here is that once you have such a large army that you can't possibly give vision to all of them because it'll derp around to the small circle that you actually have vision on.
Keep in mind, no. They don't need vision to walk, though, remember. They need vision of
shoot.
the enemy they're shooting at.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how big the army ball is. The only thing that matters is whether they can reach it, and they have 8 range. So all that matters is that you are looking at enemies, and they will keep shooting those enemies. And ideally, you're looking at the highest DPS enemies, but just keep looking at enemies, and they'll keep shooting those enemies. And they are chonky hit point-wise. So it should work pretty well on that front.
Where do you have them?
I would say maybe a B.
B? How do you feel about Tempests? With Disintegrate?
You could also go Tempests. They're just flying Dragoons. They're less. They're more fragile, so it's more important to make sure you take good care of them. But they also are flying and longer ranged, and you can literally park them over the main base, so they're just shooting down the cliff. So that's nice.
Nice.
Now, if you want to go Tempest instead of Dragoons, you can.
Cool. So how about you, Tutu?
I think that Tempests are better because, like, if your ally also builds a lot of buildings, they can kind of get stuck in the base.
Yes.
Because, like, if you're moving from one round to another to, like, get to the other train or something, help out, or, like, to get to the attack wave, you're gonna get stuck in the middle, whereas Tempest will just fly over everything and help out. And plus, there are some ground units that don't hit air, so Tempests don't get hit as much. The problem with Afraid of the Dark is that, like, a lot of enemies will hit you, but you can't hit them back because you're not looking at them. And, like, sometimes you don't know where they are, especially like the hybrid that just pop up and then they start, like, juggling your stuff and they hit you and you're like, where are they hitting? They're hitting me, but I can't hit them back because I'm focusing on something else. And Artanis kind of suffers from that because, like, you can only see so much on your screen at once. Yes. And, like, a lot of your Dragoons or Tempests will get shot, but they can't fight back, or they're not, like, hitting the things that are hitting them. So you're gonna suffer more losses than you want. Yes. So I put him in C.
I actually agree with C. I
swear you guys are playing with Dragoons that are like the size of command centers or something somehow.
That's how they feel like, to be honest. Once
they are
Tensaplat Dragoons,
they are
feel
only
like
as big as, like, a stalker, and they're I'm gonna be honest with you, more compressible. It sounds weird, but that's kind of how it works. Because if you tell Dragoons to hug each other, they are, compared to a lot of units, relatively more willing to physically walk inside of each other's bodies compared to a lot of other units.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Dragoons are very huggable, but they still, I don't know, they still feel slow, clunky. I don't know, maybe it's just bias, but I guess the operating word here is they're like stalkers, but stalkers suck. So, like,
not exactly
comparing them to stalkers feels like not a winning argument, basically. But
yeah.
My issue is that they get slapped around and they can't fight back because you're not because normally with a big Dragoon ball you kill them but then here you can't see them unless you're like looking.
The thing is, you just look at the main army, and if one hybrid is playing juggling with you, that's like negligible damage. If it's a single hybrid or like 2 or 3, as long as you're looking at the main enemy army, it's the main enemy army that does real damage to you.
Sometimes they come up
Yeah,
behind.
The only
you.
reason
extra
that
damage for no reason.
yeah, it's extra damage for no reason, but like you can take that extra damage without any significant consequences.
I still don't feel like, personally, I still don't feel like he's on the level of Abathur here. I feel like Abathur still can compress a bigger ball at a tinier spot. And also, I just feel like Tempests might be, the superior choice because they can just fly over stuff.
Yeah, Tempests, you can argue that, but the problem is that Tempests look at Shortsighted and say that's really bad.
I haven't tried this yet, disclaimer, but what I was thinking is just park your Tempests over the cliffs on the high ground to make sure that the area behind them is friendly. Dragoons can't do that. That's what I think.
The area behind you is generally friendly because, like, the only thing that really should be coming from behind you is that when you're shooting the train itself, random hybrid can spawn behind you. But that's when you're shooting the train itself, which means that would probably be after all the enemy train escort is dead, since you're looking at the train escort as it dies, and then they'll start shooting the train because the train escort is dead.
The central,
and then hybrid will start coming from behind you in quantities of like 2 or 3, not like 20.
That's true. That's certainly true for the northern rail, but for the central rail, you have to remember that the train passes through an area below player 2's main base that the enemy does camp with static defense and units. Also, even the area where the trains pass through, where the middle rail passes through, gets defended at multiple points. So you can get stuff shooting behind you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just don't have a feeling. I look at Artanis. Dragoons definitely don't give me a vibe that he can match up with Abathur. Tempests, I think Tempests have a stronger argument to match up well against Abathur, but with
that
Abathur,
sounds just so wrong to me. Tempests are probably the weaker choice here, and Dragoons definitely are like.
Well, you're thinking
easily. They're as tanky as Abathur, but without being like bad early game.
But you're thinking in terms of regular brutal, in which case Dragoons certainly are more versatile.
No, I'm literally not. Then I would be recommending Tempest if I was thinking regularly brutal.
I don't know. The narrow
also,
alleys.
Artanis sucks against Zerg.
That's true.
They both suck against Zerg.
The narrow alleys of Oblivion Express give me pause whenever I have to make Dragoons.
They're so narrow that Karax can fit 8 Khaderan monoliths side by side? That's how narrow we're talking.
In a certain area, but there are narrow alleys where you have to walk along if you're gonna chase the train. Well, okay. Are you gonna make it?
This? If your ally is going ground, then you go air. Otherwise, you'll body block each other.
Yeah, that's true. If your ally is going ground, you go air. That's the body blocking argument sounds great. Yeah. Or if your ally is going tower Karax or something like that, then you go air. Or hero solo, if your ally is crazy enough to do that. Or if your ally is Tychus, maybe.
Yeah, hero solo is like most commanders. Like a handful of people can do hero solos, and they do it like easily. It's not crazy. It's the easiest way to do it. Looking at Kerrigan as typical.
Yes.
Not like she has good units.
Yes, Kerrigan, the hero solo guy. Anyway, yeah, I still don't feel like try to convince us here. Give us an argument that'll put Artanis at or above Abathur's level.
You make a ball of Dragoons, you pop shield overcharge. Keep in mind, Dragoons a maxed out army of Dragoons can physically fit in the power field, so they are not nearly as big as you guys seem to be claiming.
The power field.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
the power field is only the size of a single pylon, so like a pylon field. So yeah, it's a chonky army, but it's not like huge. Keep in mind, right? If you're used to thinking in terms of using Karax buildings, one pylon power field radius is usually what you consider a relatively small amount of space to work with. And that's enough space for all your Dragoons, which you can pop shield overcharge on, and now they just don't die, so you have lots of time to move your camera around, find all the enemies. Remember, it's not like those hybrid that are attacking you from behind are completely invisible, because you could still, inside of Afraid of the Dark, you could still see the projectiles from the hybrid, even if you can't see the physical hybrid itself.
Yes.
So you still know that there's a hybrid hitting you, and you know where it's hitting you from.
Okay, counter argument. The power field is bigger than your vision radius.
Yes.
So the Dragoons
only
getting
slightly.
attacked at the edges, you won't see what's attacking them. Especially if it's, for example, Zerglings. You have to look further away to warp in new Dragoons. I don't think
So
you can
two
actually.
things. One, you don't typically have to warp in that many new Dragoons during the fighting thing anyways, because the new Dragoons wouldn't have shield overcharge on them. The shield overcharge is what like makes you and your ally able to have like so long before anything dies that it's much lower pressure than any other commander for the whole problem of like things nibbling at the sides of your army. And two, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, zealots will still trigger whirlwind whenever they have two units within range, even if they can't see those units from due to Afraid of the Dark. I'm not 100% certain of that.
Will they actually spin in that direction though?
No, but they don't have to, because the only reason that something is at melee range to your Dragoons is because it's a Zergling or Zealot or something. Otherwise, it doesn't actually matter how big the Dragoon ball is, because we don't care about looking at the Dragoons. We care about looking at the enemies, and the only reason that being able to see your entire Dragoon ball comes up at all is because of melee units.
Are you convinced to?
No.
Me
It's
neither.
like if you're fighting in the middle, you're trying to hit the enemies from the top train, and then the middle stuff will come at you too. Like the enemies that are standing there.
The double train.
Double trains.
Firstly, so what you're saying is you walk down to that middle stuff, don't kill the middle stuff, start attacking the train while this stuff has been shooting you the whole time, and then you lose because of the DPS of a single like fire bat in a bunker.
Yeah, it adds up over time, but I don't know. It just doesn't give off the same solidness as does Abathur. I just don't see it. You know what? How about we can come back to this later, but when I look at Abathur and Artanis, they just don't feel like they're on the same tier for me. We can come back to this later, but for now I want to put them in C.
Like Abathur is definitely stronger, but Artanis is literally just very similar to Abathur, except easy, unlike Abathur.
No. No, Abathur his army will just get stronger, and they will take hits but not die.
Yeah. Dragoons don't exactly happen to be big fans of dying of those hits either. It's just a lot earlier instead of being like a much later power spike with Abathur. Also, your ultimate evolutions are kind of fragile.
That's why you cast the thing that doesn't let them attack.
Well, then you have to be looking at the enemies to cast the spell on them, because your Vipers can't cast Blinding Cloud if you don't have vision of the area, which means you're coming back to the same problem, except now with fragile spellcasters that Amon likes to target fire.
I feel like
But when
I'd
you
rather.
cast them, everything else dies. I mean, you're gonna fight. You're gonna be fighting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Tutu here. I
It
just
feels
don't
like you
see it.
just defeated your own argument by bringing up Vipers, because now you have to worry
My
about
argument-
staring at the enemies and being
I don't
quick about it,
see-
because you have fragile flying spellcasters that will draw attack aggro from literally every single unit on the map.
Mutalisks are better than Tempests, and
That's what I was saying.
especially with biomass.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
just go
but-
Mutalisks here. They're
I'm
much more
saying, don't
compressible.
Tempests. They're not good here. They're not as good as Dragoons here. They really, really, really aren't. Ugh.
I don't know. Maybe you can do it because you're you. I think we're once again underestimating how good. Well, you're once again underestimating how good you are at Artanis. That I don't think other people can just do it like you.
I think I could do it with under 50 APM.
It's not about just how
Not
fast you
APM,
play.
It's awareness and understanding.
Yes, builds, timings, top bar usages.
Ay, ay, ay.
I don't think we're gonna change our votes, but you're kind of outvoted here, Stickspender. maybe you'll get vindication from the comments. How about that? You'll just get the people's vote.
I swear, I'm gonna go find someone who's completely new to this game and get them to solo it with Artanis, because I'm telling you, it's not that hard.
Oh, you know what? You should actually do that. I would be happy to cast that game. I'll just watch. I'll let you teach that guy.
Stickspender challenge.
Yeah, I would totally do that. You find someone who's new to co-op, teach them how to solo this as Artanis, and if you can get that guy to beat this mutation in under 5 tries, soloing as Artanis, I'd give you like $20.
We'll just have to use Maguro
I don't
because
think you
obviously
even need
they'll
to
need
limit
to
5
have full
tries.
power level.
Okay, both of you were speaking, so I didn't understand either of you. What? Sticksman, you go first.
Well, obviously, we'll have to use Maguro map so that they actually have the full power level instead of, well, they couldn't beat it because they were level 2.
Well, yeah, obviously, Maguro map. Yeah,
You can't play this on regular map anyways.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So,
Of course.
I was saying you don't need to limit to 5 tries. Just however many it
Well,
takes.
well, the 5 tries is for the prize of $20.
Oh. Uh-huh.
I'll give you $20 if you can find someone who's completely new to co-op, teach them how to play Artanis, then in 5 tries, solo this map as Artanis, or this mutation as
might be a bit
Artanis.
tricky, but I'm sure I can
Completely
figure
new?
that
I
out.
don't think so.
But I mean, completely new to co-op, not completely new to Starcraft,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, not completely new to Starcraft, just completely new
that
to
should
co-op.
be relatively easy.
I don't think Hearthstone can do it. One of those who's been playing for some time. I don't think they can solo this with Artanis with Dragoons.
I think I could find someone who's lower skilled than like Hearthstone or Zelda to do it.
I'll see if local
We're
is
gonna
up for it.
We're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for that. Guys, comment down below if you know someone who doesn't play a lot of co-op but is good at 1v1 or other modes of the game, maybe Giant Grand Game. Giant Grand Game is actually pretty good at co-op, but someone who's actually not good at co-op or relatively new to co-op, recommend them in the comments down below and I'll see what I can do. But anyway, for the time being, C tier. You've been outvoted, Stickspender. Let's move on.